Dan and Corey here, welcoming you into Libservative.
The great fundamental issue now before our people. We, the people, cannot turn back.
Yeah, welcome in to another rousing rendition of Libservative, intellectual idiots fostering political and cultural literacy. Pal the Bodysnatcher on the ones and twos. He, as always, is Corey Walsh.
Dan Griffin. And Dan, I gotta say,
what do you gotta say?
Intro that we have, I think I made it for myself just as much as the listener, because it's such a beautiful intro. And it gets me pumped up for every show, no matter how apathetic I'm feeling when I come into the podcast. Just when I hear that fucking beat, and then I hear little Teddy say, "We the people will not turn back or cannot turn back." I'm like, "Fuck, you're right, Teddy."
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either.
I'll have to go back and listen to the podcast to know what I
Very
said.
sweet. Corey's already had a couple of beers tonight, so he's getting a little bit sentimental.
I drink some
holiday
gin.
season. Okay, well that explains it. So now we know if we want Corey to cry, we serve him gin. If we want him to get emotional,
No, so when I get emotional, it's the day after always. You ever get that when you get older? Like if you go really hard in the paint the night before with a bunch of illicit substances.
yeah, and you wake up,
and then the next day
it's bad.
The next day you're sitting there and you feel fine. You're not depressed, but you're just watching TV and you just see like the Sarah McLachlan dog video, and you're just like, fuck, those fucking dogs. And then now especially like I watch all these these movies like Fox and the Hound or like Moana or Bluey's one that'll get you on a hangover day, and it's just these little cute children's shows, but they have these really deep meanings to them, and there's just these emotional moments that just pull at your heartstrings, and your kid's laughing at the fart noises, and you're over here choking back a tear because you're like, yeah, but those farts mean something.
Yeah, you basically just described like a Beauty and the Beast style rom-com, like the beginning of a Judd Apatow movie where it's like the guy's really lonely and he's watching the Fox and the Hound with a bunch of Kleenexes in his lap, and then he meets a chick that's way too hot for him. That's what you just described.
Oh, apparently. Well, I guess. Well, I'm over that hump. I'm in the third or fourth movie of that series, I guess, because of the fact that I'm already got the girl, got the kid. I'm not going out doing crazy shit all the time anymore.
You're in the parental Adam, the Adam Sandler in his mid 40s movies,
it's something you won't. Bell, I'm gonna bring Bell.
Hot Tub Time Machine or some shit.
Not even that. Bell will probably understand this because Bell has kids. You don't. But you'll go and watch a movie you haven't seen in 30 years with your kid, and you watch their emotions. And then when you catch their emotions to it, and you watching it, and then you remember it as a kid, and you put yourself in all of a sudden, maybe it's just my ADD brain, but all of a sudden the whole fucking scene is painted, right? And I'm sitting there, and I can just transfix myself to where I'm my child at the same age in a whole different environment. And it's just all of a sudden your emotions start pulling some fucking heartstrings on you and stuff like that, because you're reliving the whole moment vicariously through your kid.
While also realizing that the movie is dog shit.
Some are, some aren't. Rescuers Down Under? Fuck yourself. Fuck you.
There's a few. Rescuers Down Under is that fire, though.
But it's only because I watched it as a kid. If you didn't watch it as a kid, or if you're a 20-year-old and you go to watch it now as a 20-year-old,
no. Here's why Rescuers. I'm gonna tell you why Rescuers Down Under sucks. I'm gonna tell you. Ready for why?
Yeah. Tell me why.
because they portray the hunter, who I know they call him a poacher, but they portray the hunter as the bad guy.
Well, yeah, he's a poacher.
They tell you he's a poacher.
No, there's a part where they're
in that
talking
film that he's a poacher. He's trying to
There
fucking
is
kill alligators and shit.
Because
He's
no,
wanted.
the he's wanted, and the golden eagle was a protected.
Oh, he's
species.
wanted. Oh, what do you this appeal to authority here? He's wanted. He's got a warrant for his arrest. He must have done it.
You know, the biggest
Fucking
libertarian
Fed?
conservationist.
Fuck you.
No, he was hunting the gold eagles, and it was out of season, and they were a protective species.
Do you know how big of a pain in the ass eagles are?
He already got the father. He was fucking bragging about it. How many times have you seen this movie, Dan? Hold up.
It's been a long time, but many times when I was a kid.
Okay, there was.
Can you imagine 6-year-old Dan like
these idiots.
This is horse shit. I don't want to watch this fucking movie no more.
This is propaganda.
Fuck this movie. Fuck this Fed. You're a Fed, mom.
Oh my god! I hope I raise a kid that says that.
My kid does. You go ask my kid, knock knock. He'll say, "Come back with a warrant." I told him that's the joke.
That's brilliant.
It's just bullshit.
But yeah, no, dude. He like, you know, I'm the one. Like, I don't want to say I'm not giving myself sole credit, but I helped you remove the calluses from your eyes on the idea of libertarianism.
You take a lot.
I'm a libertarian. I do. I really do. I feel like I witnessed a morph, and I'm not upset about it. Now you out libertarian me.
A transition, if you will.
Yeah, you transition.
The transition
But,
is completed.
But
They insult us in an attempt to gaslight us, and we will not stand for it.
we could do our homework. We could go back and listen to like old episodes when I was introducing the ideas. I feel like I introduced them.
I don't know. I feel like, just like with many others, COVID really got me into the libertarian game.
We started the podcast right at the
I started
middle,
listening to Tom Woods. I started listening to Dave Smith. I started listening to all the great libertarian voices out there. And yeah, they got me hooked.
You were listening to them to pre-Corey Walsh?
No, but like once COVID started, and I was like, something's weird about this. Let me explore a little bit. I did my own research, as Jimmy Dore would say. I did some reading, and I'm not supposed to do that. Don't do your own research.
Yeah,
you like that Jimmy Dore joke that the comparison that he does, where I think it was during the live show that we saw, where he's like, "Yeah, I'm going to buy a car. Don't look into it. Just trust the nice salesman. He's the expert."
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
Corey, what did you learn this week, buddy? Anything good? Do you have anything? Because if you don't, I've got one.
I learned
Maybe Bell's got one.
that in the 1880s, the first American roller coasters were built to distract people from sinful activities like drinking and gambling.
When was this, you said? Sorry, you cut out.
1880s.
Oh.
1880s.
I guess that kind of makes sense, right? Because like there's the people that are like really into adrenaline and like it becomes an addiction. So, you know, I guess that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, I feel like in the 1880s, they like a roller coaster you would ride today for 4 tickets at the local fair would be like,
yeah, but dude, back then that shit was fire though, man.
Right,
that
like,
shit felt like the Millennium Force back then, dude. We did like 30 miles an hour, like the one that the kids
dude,
ride. That's like the dragon.
1G.
Like the one that the kids ride, right? The one that's got like it's like
right,
a dragon and it's just like an oval.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Like it was either that or swings. Even if swing. Hey Bell, real quick, look up when swings were invented.
The carnival ride, not swings.
Oh, no, just regular swings.
Oh God, that had to
like
be invented. That's got to. I'm gonna say 2,000 years ago. Like, because that's such a fucking trivial little piece of equipment. It's like all you need is a fulcrum.
I get it.
Go ahead and guess.
I'm gonna say I'm gonna say 800 BC.
Corey.
Really?
Yeah.
No, I'm gonna think Renaissance. Like 1200s, 1300s, AD.
Dude, Dan was only 500 years off.
Ooh,
300 BC.
13 to 1400 BC.
So even further back.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I knew it had to be a long time ago.
I said AD. I meant BC.
Well, you didn't. Shut up. Shut up. We knew what you meant.
I know.
So you learned that, that roller coasters were invented to keep people from fucking
Roller
drinking
coasters
beer.
were goddamn propaganda by the man. I'm just kidding. But yeah, no, I think Coney Island was one of the first places, and they threw up a roller coaster. Maybe this will stop guys from banging prostitutes at the brothel and drinking beer.
That's great.
And obviously it must have worked to some extent because...
So, why didn't fucking Pinocchio just ride the roller coasters instead of going into that shady place and smoking
because
cigars?
he was in the brothels lying about his height.
Yeah, dude, that fucking movie's creepy as shit. I don't care what anybody says. What a creepy-ass story. That
That
is a
was the joke,
pedophile story.
because- No, when Pinocchio lies, his nose grows.
Understood. But you
Right.
know
He
Pinocchio
was
is like
in
a super,
brothels lying about his height. Yeah.
But Pinocchio, the story of it is totally a pro-pedophile propaganda story. They capture all the boys.
I don't
take
know.
them.
Yeah, maybe.
Come on.
Yeah, but it's the scene in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles when they're showing the
Geppetto's
pedo.
really
Don't get it.
nice.
and
Geppetto's
and
cool. I like
the-
Geppetto.
and
Cool guy.
All right.
beginning scene of the island where the boys are going. You got pool tables, smoking cigars. They're fucking chilling. They're hanging
Come
out
on,
with the boys.
We got something for you.
It seems like a great time. I wouldn't want to turn into a donkey. That sounds like
That's
shit.
how they get
That's
you.
really-
That's how they get you to Epstein's
I
Island.
feel gross. Turn into a donkey, 1 star. That'd be my Yelp review.
You'd never get out. You never get out. You're going to Epstein's Island. Pinocchio is a story about Epstein's Island, essentially. Before Epstein's Island happened, Epstein made Pinocchio real life.
I'm a real boy.
That's a stupid thing to say because there was a lot of girls.
That's a weird
but no,
simile.
maybe Pinocchio was working on, or maybe the story of Pinocchio was working up to the girls. They had to start with the boys to make it seem less weird. To start with, anyway.
They did
That's
just
It's another weird things learned. My things learned is, dude. Okay, so do you guys have the same problem I have? I have this issue. Marissa and I both, where we suck at taking our cans back for the 10 cents or whatever and putting them in the machine. We just don't fucking feel like doing it. And we'll just let them pile up bags and bags. And eventually what will roll around is some sort of bottle drive. And we're we have all these fucking cans. We're never taking these back. Let's just give them to charity. Right. I think can drives, empty aluminum can and bottle drives, are maybe the most ethical scam you could ever come up with. Because for me personally, because I let all those cans pile up, I don't give a shit. I just want to get rid of the cans. I could literally be giving those cans to the Chinese Communist Party and I wouldn't care. I just want them out of my house. So you could literally just create a can or bottle drive and you could say it's for anything. And I'm absolutely bringing them to you no matter what. There have to be a ton of people like me out there doing this. It could totally be a scam.
No, that there's no one's looking into it.
No, I'm not. I don't care. Oh shit, bottle drive down the
Nobody
street.
wants
Let's
to
take these
look
fucking
into it.
cans.
Yeah, no, I typically, Jesus, no, I'm really bad. We used to return cans. I remember it was a whole thing when I was poor, and
When you were poor?
I'm still a little poor, but not as poor. I'm in that, it's, there should be 2 classes: the ones that need to take cans back, and the ones that are
I don't have to worry about this anymore.
just
That's how
gonna
you know
flip
you're coming. That's how you know you're coming up in the world, right? When you don't have to worry about whether you're taking your fucking cans back.
Yeah,
That's how you know you're starting to make it.
Lately, it's so bougie. I don't like it.
Dude, you are the
Like,
fucking
ready
Paris
new
Hilton.
list.
You are the Paris Hilton of poor people right now. You're in
I'm
that
in
class
Paris
right
Hilton
now,
of
bro.
the trailer park, boys. Yeah, dude, like my neighbors probably see us bring in like carry out like 4 times a week, and they're like, Jesus Christ, why are they even fucking living in here?
Yeah, this is like, look at these bougie assholes over here. The fucking kings of the trailer park.
We're not.
Coming up. Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are. You own this. You own that place.
I do own this trailer. I'm not renting.
You're renting the lot though.
Facts.
Dude, and I'm sure you already know this because you do live in a mobile home, but like the idea of like owning your house but not owning the land that it sits on is infuriating. I know because I used to do it too. And I was just like, I own this house. Why can't I just have a plot of land to put it on where I don't have to pay for it?
Dan, if I tried to move this thing, it'd fucking fall apart. A plot of land.
That's how they get you.
I'm sensing an insurance arson coming very soon.
I should probably re-up my renter's insurance.
I was going to say, you don't even have insurance on that place, do you?
It's not worth it. Dude, short of being a frontline worker with the government, like under their parameters of what a frontline worker was, I am going to school to get a scholarship or to get a degree using like basically a state-funded scholarship. But other than that, I really haven't like had to ever reach out to a friend or the government or anything for money. That like if my house burned down and I have a wife and child, I could start a GoFundMe and I'd make bank. So I think about that sometimes.
Or start a can drive. because people like me will absolutely bring you their cans. That's why I said it's the most.
Where this whole conversation started was the can.
Yeah, it's the most ethical. It's the most ethical scam you could ever do. Because like you're doing me a favor by taking my fucking cans out of my house.
Yeah, you just did the most beautiful like rain-in I've ever seen in my life that I almost didn't even want to acknowledge because of how well it was, but that was good. Hey, Belle, what did you learn this week? Since that's what this all started.
You know, it's really funny. I really didn't learn anything this week. I've just been concentrating on other things. But you were talking.
Oh,
about
that sounded like a
maybe.
loosen the collar, huh?
No, but you're talking about roller coasters, right?
Yeah.
So
roller coasters are like life. They have ups, they have downs,
and then they come
What
up
can
with
you
some
say?
crazy shit. In 2010, there was this guy from Lithuania, and he was a PhD candidate at the Royal College of Art in London. His name was Julianis Urbanus. He was tasked with creating a fucking roller coaster that would kill people.
Oh yeah, it's
So-
that death loop.
Yeah, well, it's called the Euthanasia Coaster.
Nice.
It goes. It was 1,600 feet tall. It had 7 loops on it.
And they got smaller as it
They
went.
got smaller as you went on. At 220 miles an hour. But there experience a negative 10 G's, so you're fucking dying for sure. There's no coming back. But yeah, that's. I want to inform
In
other
addition
people they should look
to
into
what
that.
you
It's
learned?
very interesting. Yeah, it's very interesting.
I know the viewers are going to point this out, or at least they should if they don't, because the way Bell's face is positioned in this screen, he's got a light up, it looks like a Christmas decoration behind him. And I know it's supposed I was going to say it was some sort of animal, but it absolutely looks like a cock. The face on it.
A little bit, yeah.
When you just look at the lights, it looks like a dick.
It's just a llama.
That's a
Adorable.
llama?
Right next to what appears to be, I'm sure that American flag is facing the right way, but
Yeah,
because
do it like
you're
that so we can tell.
because you're mirrored, it looks like it's backwards. So you're a fucking anarchist. I love it.
So It's supposed to, be the other way.
Oh, it actually is backwards?
Yeah. The stars are supposed to go over the right shoulder, like in a funeral.
Oh. So you're not positioning it like the military men would want you to position it, where it's like if it were going into battle.
No, we're Colin Kaepernick in this motherfucker.
Because you know how you always see the shoulder patches on the military men, and the stars are on the wrong side.
You know, it's really funny. So
It's because it's the way it looks when you're going into battle.
My neighbor, the day before the election, was flying his flag upside down, which I don't know if you guys know, but is a sign of distress.
Dude, that guy is.
Buddy, are you okay? He's like, what are you talking about?
That guy knows what's going on. He's in deep with Q. He knows exactly what's going on.
So I said, I was like,
we go one, we go all.
Where we go one, we go all, buddy.
He said no.
Oh, boys, I'm about to pull the most unprofessional move. I have to take a piss.
We just started.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
How does this even happen?
It's never happened.
Bright Nice is in the house. What's up, buddy? All right. I guess Bell and I will carry the rest of this, because Corey's probably going to take a shit if I know him. You know him. I don't know him. Well, you know a little bit about this one, Bell, because I don't know as much about this as you do. But the health insurance got wild today, eh? United Healthcare CEO shot and killed in Manhattan in an apparent targeted attack. And we have tons of memes, tons of pictures of the fact that United Healthcare had a 32% claim rejection rate, which is like double the average of all health insurance companies in the United States. Absolutely. And we actually have a lot of people that are like happy that this guy died, which is a little fucked up.
I wouldn't say that they're happy. They're just not sad. And that's okay.
Yeah, I guess even Bright Nice. Look at this. Look at this. Even Bright Nice is calling out Corey. Using the pisser already? He said restroom. Because Bright Nice is a nice person and he doesn't curse. Yeah, Corey got after it a little bit before we started the show.
From what I've gathered, this guy was walking up to the hotel for like their annual insurance conference.
What the hell is this guy's name again? What's his name again?
Brian
I forgot
Johnson.
already.
Isn't it
Brian
Thompson?
Brian Thompson. What a generic name.
That's what I said. It's something white.
But, I think it could be a black guy. Brian Thompson could be a black guy.
It could be, but that's like a generic white guy name.
Yeah, I guess. I could see it being some guy in the NFL though.
But some
defensive back.
It said this morning, right? So he was getting ready for a convention, but from the surveillance pictures, they're in night vision. One of them's in night vision. The guy's on a bike, and the other picture is him, but he's like illuminated by streetlights. So if they're getting ready to go to a convention, what time are they going to this convention where this guy's outside of a hotel in the morning where it's dark?
So are you trying to throw out conspiracy already?
I don't know, dude. I'm just asking questions that I think normal people should be asking. But either way, this man's dead. He's dead.
Oh boy, I'm back.
You're back. We were talking about the dead insurance CEO, and you look. Go ahead, Bill.
I was saying they're saying that it looks like he's got a silencer on his gun. To be honest. And
actually, it's funny because Chris made the comment here. The assassin used a silencer too. Definitely planned. We cannot confirm that, but I guess we trust Chris as far as we can, which is not that far. But I haven't looked at all. Let's just
I didn't even see that. I'm looking at the pictures, but yeah.
Well, it was. They say it was targeted, right?
Yeah, and they're saying that he looks like the way that he was. That he looked like he was like proficient in the use of firearms and so
what's the conspiracy?
His gun jammed. That was the thing. His gun jammed, and then Buddy cleared his jam real quick, and then kept shooting him.
Yeah, dude, you got to be a pretty proficient user of a firearm to be able to handle a jam that fast.
Yeah.
Chris says he saw the video.
Send it to us.
It's okay, Chris. You have to understand, you're just a guy. We can't just throw that out there. But we'll just,
I know, Chris.
Well, I understand that, but he's just a guy. We can just be like, well, Chris said that he had a silencer, so he definitely had a silencer. I believe him. I have no reason not to believe him.
I'm
but
saying that it looks like it. I'm not saying that he did. I'm speculating. But yeah, that's basically.
What's the conspiracy,
one of the?
Right?
I'll tell you what it is.
Because
Isn't there a movie? I think it's Denzel Washington, where his kid gets sick
John
and he
Q.
holds a whole hospital
Q.
hostage.
I love
Yeah,
that
John
movie.
Q. It's with Denzel Washington, am I right?
Yeah. Wasn't that about a hospital? I saw it once many years ago.
United Health has the highest percentage of claim denials or
Rejections, claim rejections or denials. Yeah.
And now this also is only anecdotal evidence that holds no more, no less weight than the viewers right now. But
his wife said something, right?
Well,
his wife was like, he was
in the
nursing.
UHC has the highest claim denial or whatever, versus any other insurance companies. They're at 32%. The second one's Medica at 27%. The third one is Anthem at 23%. Carasource is 20%. Then Aetna is 20%. Molina is 19%. Cigna is 18%. Blue Cross Blue Shield is 17%. Industry average is 16%. And then Ambetter is 14%. Oscar is 12%. Kaiser Permanente is 7%. So the highest one is UHC, and this guy was making millions and millions and millions of dollars.
32%. Do you realize what that means? If you were a United Healthcare customer, I don't know how much this ties into this man's death, but think about that for a second. This is kind of an aside. 32%. That's almost 1/3. Let's just call it 1/3. If you are a United Healthcare member, you're paying into this company. You're paying your premiums every month. It's getting taken out of your paycheck or whatever it is. And you only have a 2 out of 3 chance of having your claim accepted when you need what health insurance is used for.
When you're paying for it, yeah.
That's unbelievably high. That's absurdly high.
And then so the nursing subreddit, some of the things that people were saying, I've had numbness and weakness in my right arm for 8 months, and they denied my MRI multiple times. This person
MRI, a routine diagnostic procedure.
Again, these are all just
denied.
people saying these things in Reddit. None of this is corroborated, but
I get it. I understand.
I work in pediatric neurology. We have UHC deny seizure medications that we can definitely tell will benefit patients based on their EEG results because it's not UHC's preferred medication. Patient has to fail the preferred medication first, and by fail, this means the patient has to have a shitload of seizures. So these kids have to seize their fucking brains out to get a medication that we know will control their seizures. Fuck insurance companies.
So Corey, you can absolutely see a scenario where a guy who is, as Chris put it, a very proficient user of firearms, maybe former military, who knows? We'll find out in the coming days. If we already know by the time you listen to this, we apologize. Maybe we'll get back to it. But you can see where somebody like that has a huge medical bill because something happened. Maybe somebody in his family got cancer. Maybe somebody got severely injured. And then his health insurance company that he paid a bunch of money into through premiums to get to have this insurance. Then he finally needs the health insurance to do the thing that you paid it to do. And it denies its claim. And he goes, well, fuck it. My life's over. I have $100,000 in medical bills.
Fuck it. the wife I was trying to have a kid with just died.
She did? I'm sorry to hear that, Corey.
No, I'm just saying, like, I could see you can, like we've seen the Joker, we see all these movies, like at this point in cinema action, they put a lot of nuance to things.
Yeah,
right? Like, the
dude,
villain
this is
always has a
absolutely
backstory.
some John Wick shit. Like somebody killed his dog.
Another person goes, here's where we are on the cusp of 2025, that the general attitude online anyway of this particular event is basically better an overpaid CEO of a corrupt system than a bunch of innocent kids in a classroom. This is what class warfare always brings in its wake, a desensitized attitude of the populace towards those who have been profiting off them. In short, the French Revolution, no longer seeing oppressors as human beings. Now whose fault is that, I wonder?
See, I don't hate that sentiment. There's just something missing from it, which is that, like, I actually don't care. It, like, we actually just saw this with Elon Musk, and I'll tie it in here in a second, where Tesla shareholders agreed to pay Elon Musk a certain amount of money. They said, we're going to pay him this money. He deserves it. He's fucking done a great job with Tesla, and he makes great cars, other than the Cybertruck, but he makes great cars. He's turned a great profit for us. We want to pay him this money. And judges came out and said they overturned it. So the people that are affected agreed to pay the CEO of Tesla a certain amount of money, and the federal government comes in and says, no, sorry, you can't pay him that much. The idea that, like, a CEO making a ton of money actually doesn't really bother me if that CEO is ensuring that his company is doing right by whoever his customers are, his customers and his shareholders, which is not happening in health insurance companies.
That opinion that you're, like, coming to doesn't necessarily have to do with the idea that the general populace, like the social media, like the response of, like, well, fuck him anyways. Like, it seems to be, like, not his death is being celebrated in some circles online, and that's not.
No, but Corey, my point is this. I think you're missing a little piece of my point before you continue. Is that if United Healthcare had the lowest claims denials of any health insurance company out there, and this man had been killed, and maybe he had been killed for the same reasons, because obviously
the response would be different. He's just as rich, but the response would be different,
right? Because he wasn't doing a good job as CEO. He wasn't doing right by his customers. So I think the reaction would have been different had United Healthcare had the lowest or among the lowest claims denials. But when you can just make a meme that just has a graph that shows all of the claims denials of every health insurance company in America, or at least most of them.
Context, I believe that
they have the worst.
A lot of stock buybacks. Like, he was obviously some money was being saved by denying claims, and they were getting bonuses to the upper elite.
Right, and that's on the CEO, which is why it's like he deserves the scrutiny. I don't think he deserved to die. I'm not going to say that.
Right. Yeah, maybe if he got this scrutiny before he died, he might have circumvented the ultimate outcome and actually did a better job.
Here's the thing, like,
we don't know
because he's dead. From a personal perspective, like, obviously, like, I'm always one of the people that's like, dude, pity the living, not the dead, right? So, like, his family. You know what I mean? Like, he was still a person. He had a family, and, like, those people lost their father or their brother. I don't know if he was. I don't know anything about that.
Yeah, that sucks. Yeah, I don't.
Like, I feel. You feel horrible for those people, But it's like, at the same time, I kind of understand people's, like, disdain.
Yeah,
and, like,
absolutely.
not feeling bad for him personally.
What I was reading was it's the elitists and all these people who, and they've all only played a little tiny part, right? But, like, in setting this system up to literally fuck people like you and I, no Vaseline, Ice Cube style.
Not even an Ice Cube. You kidding?
No, I was talking about Ice Cube, the rapper, his song "No Vaseline."
Oh, I thought you were, like, using an Ice Cube as a lubricant.
He he is a part of a class that like the working class has absolute disdain for, because those are the ones who have fucked our country up. The only reason UHC is even chosen as a fucking insurance company is because all the insurance companies got together and lobbied our government to make it to where insurance companies are fucking necessary in the first place. Why can't we have a free market to where it used to be, where you just pay your doctor out of pocket? You know what I mean? Like for healthy people, like obviously insurance should still be
like if
there as an option. I'm not saying outlaw insurance companies.
Yeah, no, like
but
if
the
you're
way the
going to have
system went through protectionist policies from our government, Obama didn't help. He just made a Republican style neoliberal system, you know, with Obamacare, to where great, now you can't, like preconditions can't deny you insurance, but obviously denial claims still happen because even the better ones are still at like 17%. And you could completely fix the system by making it like that, you know, but I digress.
So there's a website called I want to say it's called Crowd Health. I could be wrong because I don't have it in front of me. But there is a website called Crowd Health, and it is a basically crowd-funded health insurance. This is not a sponsor of this show, although Crowd Health, like, we're there for you. We'll help you out. We're fucking capitalists ourselves over here.
Oh yeah, I fucking
but
love
like
a free market solution to a governmental problem.
But basically, Crowd Health is a website. It's crowd-funded health insurance. Like you pay in a little bit every month, and you basically everybody in the community helps pay your medical bills when it's done. When it's all said and done. But to your point, Corey, the fact that we have all these goofy protectionist policies that make it so difficult. Like you and I can't go out tomorrow and start a health insurance company where we're Corey and Dan's health insurance. Hey, give us a bunch of money every month or a certain amount of money every month. And if you break your leg, we're absolutely going to pay for it because you paid us all this money for all these years. Like that's the way health insurance is supposed to work.
Right.
But it's not the way that it does.
Because ultimately, like, what's the basic fundamentals of what an insurance company is supposed to be? Just everyone throws money into a giant pool, and when someone needs a little bit of it back, everyone absorbs that cost.
100%. Like it's voluntary, and that's
voluntary.
Another issue with Obamacare is that it stopped being voluntary. But yeah, so do I feel bad?
I still think that like. If it came, not necessarily government growth, like if you did it right, but if the government wanted to solve the insurance crisis, bar just and couple this, I guess, with just allowing people to pay doctors out of pocket versus insurance, which I guess you could still do, but like a family visit, just a regular, just like
dude,
your
and it's
physical, your
expensive
blood
because
work and stuff for your doctor should only be like $200.
Well, and it's expensive because the physicians union sets the prices, and the physicians union setting the prices goes back to the amount of money that you have to pay to become a doctor in the first place. Like it's all tied together.
Right.
It even goes into the education system and what it takes to get a college degree now. Like these things are all tied together. It's all just a big fucking money-making racket. Bullshit scheme.
It really is. And I guess so if I were to fix it, I would try to do in certain aspects like deregulate it to where it's like getting a certificate to give a physical just cost way less, to where like just basic health coverage and basic health things like that could like just be cheaper access to people.
My favorite thing is like this. Go ahead.
And then double that. Like I think that this is also still a good idea. Make it to where, like, what is it? Medicaid is for everyone. Medicare is for older people, right? Or do I have that backwards?
I think you have it right.
Okay.
Off the top of my head.
Make that to what, like, make it to where it's a price that's sustainable. But if you have a part-time or a full-time job, make it an option where you could pay a little bit more for a cheap alternative to insurance. Like it's already in our system, right? And I know that like especially you, Dan, being libertarian and stuff, you don't want more government growth, and I understand no government growth, but Medicare is an actually pretty decent, efficient system overall. And because it's such a big blanket, like I have friends like who own like businesses in healthcare, and they say Medicare is an absolute bitch dealing with a business, but you have to accept it just because so many people have it.
Corey,
so
even from a libertarian perspective, like I don't think there's anything, and libertarians out there can disagree with me if they want to. I don't think there's anything wrong with Medicare, per se. Even like the Bernie Sanders Medicare for all thing. But what you have to understand is, like, if everybody's on Medicare, it's gonna be shit. It's gonna be garbage. Right. So you still need to be able to offer private insurance on top of Medicare.
Yeah,
that's the whole
what
thing.
I'm getting at is use Medicare as a tool to make the market more like effective, right? Like Medicare is already such a big blanket that the government, like, you know what I mean? So like,
well, if you just had Medicare,
let me finish real quick. Listen,
go ahead.
Medicare is like really cheap, and all these different industries have to accept it, even though they're getting paid the lowest amount versus all the private insurances, because it makes up for the fact because they have a large swath of their patients with Medicare. So it's like, yeah, they're seeing 3 of them, and it might be a 2 to 3 ratio, like 3 Medicare patients, they're making the same amount of money as 2 people on private insurance, but you're still making out, right?
Well,
you're still getting the money. And so if you made it to where Medicare was an option for anyone who's getting a paycheck, right? If you're getting a paycheck, you can, if your employer doesn't offer insurance, $17 more out of your check, or $20 more or whatever out of your check goes to Medicare, and you are now covered. Yeah, you're covered now. You're working and you're covered,
but it's optional.
And it's optional. And then bigger companies.
So that's the key point, is that it's optional.
It's optional, right. And then on top of that, a bigger company could still offer their private insurance, but then they would also offer the Medicare. And you know what a bunch of young people are going to fucking do who don't have families, and they're just young and they're working and they just need to be covered in case they break an arm? They're going to choose the Medicare. And then everyone is going to start choosing Medicare because they're going to realize it works, because it already does work. Well, and then all of a sudden the insurance companies are going to go, oh, fuck, we have to compete with this. And what you're doing is you're offering, because it's an option, you're giving another option in the free market. And I think that this could be like a sort of tool. And you know what? And honestly, if $17, $20 an hour doesn't work, you want this to be, even though it's a department of the government, you want it to still be profitable to make sure you're not sucking money away. You raise the price a little bit if you have to.
I don't have an issue with anything you just said, and I didn't hear a lot of it. But the only reason I say that is because no, I did. I heard it, but I didn't listen. But I don't mean to offend you. The reason I'm saying that I wasn't listening is because you had me at voluntary. Like you didn't need to say any of the rest of that to me. You had me at voluntary. Like, that's a libertarian principle. Like, the government can offer things. I don't have an issue with the government offering things as long as they're voluntary. And you would still have a market for private insurance. And yeah, private insurances, I think, would be incentivized at that point to not charge these astronomical amounts. And we could get into why they charge so much in the first place, but that's not something we have time for on this particular episode. But yeah, I can't believe a guy dying just made us talk about health insurance for the past 20 fucking minutes.
That's all right. It's an important topic. Like, literally, like, like,
why did this guy die?
I was making jokes in the chat earlier. It's like, I have about a 32% denial for sympathy rate.
So you're only like, what would that number be? You're 67% sympathetic to this man's death?
No, I'm 68%. I'm 67% sympathetic to deaths in general.
That's cold. It's cold, but I dig it.
Well, not the death. Like obviously, like you can have it both ways. Like I could be unsympathetic of somebody dying, but sympathetic that like a lot of people's lives just got shattered and fucked up and stuff because of it. And it's like I can feel bad for those people and not feel bad for the person.
I guess that's fair enough. That's pretty much
You know what I
I
mean?
said.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
like,
I
I
know
can be
what you mean.
sympathetic for the people that cared about him, but for him himself, like, I don't
We
know.
got a couple more. We got a couple more appointments we have to get to in the Trump administration. One good.
To get into this 45 minutes, and let's get to it.
One good, one questionable, one really bad. Which one do you want to start with?
Who do we have? We have that Jay guy.
We have Jay Bhattacharya. We have
Yep.
Chad.
Patel.
Jay Bhattacharya is heading the NIH. We have Chad Chronister to head up the DEA, and we have Kash Patel to head up the FBI. What do you where do you want to start?
So the least
one
one
of these
I
is
know
real
about
short.
is the one for the DEA.
Chad Chronister.
Yeah.
So this is the one that's really, really bad because this is the one where it is essentially, let's go ahead and keep the swamp just swampy enough. So Spike Cohen, one of our heroes on this show. If you don't know who Spike Cohen is, he was the vice presidential libertarian candidate under Joe Jorgensen. And he put out just an absolutely fantastic tweet from Chad in March 30th of 2020. I actually feel like I should go ahead and put this tweet up. I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to present it on camera. Sorry. Give me a minute. I'm getting there.
So what's this guy's name again?
Chad Chronister, I think is how it's pronounced.
Well, okay. So just a heads up, homie. I saw this right before we got on the air. This guy withdrew his appointment.
Did he? Okay,
Yeah.
well, we're going to talk about it anyway. And this is probably why he withdrew his appointment. Because Spike Cohen...
Bell, verify that real quick.
Chad Chronister, no longer going to be the head of the DEA. But this is probably why. Because Spike Cohen posted a tweet from Chad from March 30th of 2020, which you see up on the screen right now. And it's Chad Chronister sitting, doing a press conference, doing a press conference. And this is his tweet. Announcing the arrest of Dr. Ronald Howard Brown, pastor of the River at Tampa Bay Church, who intentionally and repeatedly disregarded state and local public health orders, which put his congregation and our community in danger. This motherfucker was a goddamn COVID clown. This guy arrested a pastor. This guy arrested a man for exercising his First Amendment right to freedom of religion.
Well,
this is the guy.
Freedom of assembly, freedom of
religion,
and freedom of speech.
All of it.
Yeah.
He was a COVID crony. But I guess we don't have to talk about him that much because you just said he
what's
withdrew
crazy
his
about it too
nomination.
is like, put yourself back there. You remember how like wild of a time it was. You could have been like, yeah, dude, just fucking don't do that. You know, like you can understand like people who would have been like, yeah, this guy shouldn't be doing this, right?
Great.
But
as much as I like for a minute, I think all three of us, I think we can all admit this. For a minute there, we were all afraid of COVID. We were all duped
me
a
and
little
Bell, like, dude. So me and Bell both had young children at home. It was like the last time we hung out for like 4 months. We got in our separate cars. We went to the grocery store and we both did our fucking COVID hunkered down. Like I bought 3 months worth of food. And
so
because
that's what I'm saying is like,
and then like we left the store and we didn't even like fist bump or nothing. It was like, well, dude, see you on the other side.
Well, so here's my point, right? Like, because I did similar things. I think we all did that. But what I think I can say for all three of us on this show, I think I am very, very confident that I can speak for all three of us when I say this. none of us would have ever supported arresting somebody for going outside.
Yeah.
For congregating. Like it's one of those things where it's like, well, I'm a little bit afraid of COVID right now. We grew out of it pretty quickly, but at the time we were all a little bit afraid of COVID.
When the arrest started to happen,
we wouldn't go to that church. We wouldn't go to that church, but like I wouldn't have been like arrest the people that are at that church. I don't think any of us ever would have said
started to happen is when all of a sudden I was like, hold up. Wait a minute.
Yeah, something's weird here. I don't like this.
Right. It was that. It wasn't even like in the beginning before like I really started to pay attention to things, right? It wasn't even when people were losing their business licenses and stuff. Like even at that point, like back in 2020, I was like, dude, like just like you can get government assistance. Don't open your place. Just don't fucking do that. You're losing your shit, you fucking idiot, kind of thing, right? Like, but then when people were starting to get arrested, it was like, hold on. You know, and then like, and that's
awfully authoritarian about this. Like we all, even though we weren't that into it at the time, like we all realized, like, no,
the videos of
surfers,
a group of like, a group of like 2 surfers running down the beach away from the police because they were surfing by themselves.
Yeah,
is like, wait.
Oh, dude,
what?
all I want to do. One of the first things that got to me was, I am an avid golfer. I love to play golf. It's literally my favorite thing other than talking to you guys. It's my favorite thing to do on earth. I love to play golf. And all I wanted to do was play golf. And I could not understand why Governor Gretchen Whitmer wouldn't let me play golf. I'm like, I'm outside. We're outside. Like, why the fuck is this an issue? But it was an issue. So like, that was when I first kind of started asking questions. Cause like, I can't do a thing outside. That's my favorite thing to do in like mid-June. What are we doing here?
And people will often like ask, you know, it's like, why do you still bring this up? You know, like it was 4 years ago. And it's like,
because it's really fucking important. It's so important.
Like there was a lot of mistakes made. A lot of mistakes were made, and we really got to make sure we don't make those mistakes again.
Well, you're very, very courteous by calling them mistakes, because some people would say that it was intentional.
Sure.
Not me. Not me. I would never say that. Corey, you have to admit that there was some intentionality to this when you I'm not even trying to be like conspiracy theorist here, but just like think about the fact that COVID was the greatest upward transfer of wealth in human history.
That's a fact.
That doesn't happen completely by accident. It could just be a situation where it's like, hey, never let a good tragedy go to waste. I understand that. But it's like,
yeah. No, you're right. All of the stock trades that happened in the government before it happened, and
you want to get to the questionable one, the questionable Trump appointment.
Well, yeah, sure.
Or you know what? Let's do the good one first, because this one will be short.
Save the best for last.
All right, because it's going to be really short. The questionable one is the head of the FBI, Kash Patel. This is one where certain Trump sycophants are real excited, and I think you need to fucking cool your britches on Kash Patel. Because what I don't know about Kash Patel is he comes out and he talks a big game about real reform in the FBI. And you know what? Like, okay, don't threaten me with a good time. I love that idea. But is he a real reform guy? Or is he a Trump grievance bulldog? That's what we don't know. And that's why I call it questionable. Because when Kash Patel, Ken Klippenstein wrote an absolutely fantastic piece. Again, we are in no way affiliated with Ken, but go check out Ken on Substack. He wrote a great piece on this that breaks the whole thing down. Ken read his entire memoir, looked at 30 some odd hours of Kash Patel interviews, and Ken, from what I can tell, has always been a pretty straight shooter because he's an actual journalist. He's not Joy Reid. So in Ken's piece, he talks about how Kash Patel wants to shut down the FBI Hoover building and make it into a museum of the deep state. Again, don't threaten me with a good time. I'm really I would love that. You want to talk about generating revenue, Corey? What are the types of people that you think that would show up at the Deep State Museum that used to be the Hoover FBI building?
A
What do you
lot
think you're going to see there?
more than the traffic cone museum. I think it's like 12
Wonderful
visitors a year.
Wonderful idea. You want to generate some revenue? I love the idea. So he talks about, Kash Patel also talks about forming a new church commission to investigate the intelligence apparatus, similar to the church commission that called to fruition MK Ultra and certain other intelligence bullshit that fucked with normal American citizens. Again, here I am again. Don't threaten me with a good time. I'm all for this shit. But I'm interested in who he would put, or who he would ask to be put in a new church commission. That would be very telling. Are we talking about the Marjorie Taylor Greens and the Lauren Boeberts, or are we talking about the Rand Pauls,
Josh
and
Hawley's.
Thomas Massey's? We talking about those people? Obviously, I know they're in separate branches, but still, who are we talking about going in that church commission? Because that's very important. He wants to cut the size of the intelligence community. Sweet. Don't threaten me with a good time. I like this. But here's the problem. Here's the rub when it comes to Kash Patel. It seems like, and I'll wait until he's actually in place to really cast judgment. But from what I have read or seen and listened to out of Kash Patel's own mouth, it seems like he wants to cut the size of the intelligence community, I guess, sort of for the wrong reasons, right? He's the kind of guy that he wants to have less stovepiping and have less agents focus on, like, he wants to have less stovepiping from the ground level agents and passing the information, the intelligence up to higher ups in the FBI, and have more people doing ground level intelligence. And as Ken Klippenstein says in his piece, this is not the big issue, because probably more than half of the problem with the intelligence community and with the FBI is that so much of what the FBI collects is just garbage. 90 some odd % of the intelligence that the FBI collects is absolute garbage. So I'll ask you this question, Corey. How often do we hear about, like, leaks, intelligence leaks from the FBI or even the CIA or the NSA? It doesn't even matter, but intelligence leaks in general from the intelligence community, and we look at it and we go, yeah, that's not surprising at all.
Yeah, things that you would think are bombshells, where everyone's like, yeah, we knew that.
That is 90% of what the FBI does. And so, like, putting people, like, back on the streets, so to say, is not the answer to the problems with the FBI, because Kash Patel has this one major issue. I like the fact that he wants to go like investigate the intelligence community. Like, on its surface, I don't have a problem with that. I like that idea. The problem is Kash Patel is obsessed with the idea that everything within the intelligence community is politically motivated. And yeah, some of it is. Some of it is, but that's not the issue with
That's
the intelligence
evidenced by
community.
Hunter Biden getting pardoned.
We'll get there. But the Corey, that's, and I think you know this too, like, that's not the issue with the intelligence community, is the fact that it, like, yeah, it's politicized, but that's not the issue with the intelligence community. Is that it's remarkably bloated. It's the fact that it is over bloated with informants that step on each other's toes to the point where you're creating a fake kidnapping attempt of the governor of Michigan, right? Like, these are the actual problems with the FBI. And Kash Patel is so focused on the idea that it's all politically motivated. And then he wants to go and use the FBI to investigate the FBI. Like, what could possibly go wrong there?
It's like a local police department investigating themselves after a shooting and finding nothing wrong.
Right, but he's the right guy for the job, Corey. It's like when It's like when a new sheriff gets elected and he goes, well, I'm going to get rid of this corruption. I'm going to investigate this. It's like, you're the head of the organization that you're investigating. What's actually going to happen here?
Right.
Using a new FBI, centralizing power to investigate centralized power. So that's why I call Kash Patel questionable. Because I like where in some ways I like where his head's at, but I also think he's just focused on the wrong shit. Your thoughts, Corey?
Yeah, no, he based on like I can't think of any of the actual quotes right now, but he seems like he's pretty politically motivated. He's kind of just gonna be a Trump sycophant.
A Trump grievance bulldog.
Yeah.
Is the way I put it. Anything else to add? Bell, you have anything? Bell doesn't have anything. He's over there fucking stoned off his ass. Look at him. Look at him. Look at him. We can see him. The viewers can't see him.
Look at him. I also am not the most sober person right now.
Neither am I. Shall we get to the good of the Trump appointments?
Yeah,
at least three?
let's get to the good.
Dude, Jay Bhattacharya to head up the NIH. Honestly, easily. I don't even think it's close. Easily. Trump's best pick so far. It's not close. Jay Bhattacharya is a guy during COVID that was the most reasonable medical person in the country first. There were a lot that followed suit. But Jay Bhattacharya is the guy that was like, yeah, we shouldn't be shutting everything down, but we should also protect old people. You didn't have a lot of people saying that because you either had we should completely open up and not do anything, or you had people that were like, shut everything down because everybody's going to die. You didn't have a whole lot of people going like, hey, guys, there's a little bit of nuance here. Like, we can let young people continue their lives, but maybe we should give these. Like, he wasn't the kind of person that was like, give the vaccine to every human being alive, or give the vaccine to absolutely nobody. It's fucking poison and it's going to kill you. He was the guy that was like, yeah, if you're young and healthy, you don't need this vaccine probably. But if you're old, it makes a little bit of sense maybe to get this vaccine if you've got some comorbidities. I get it. Jay Bhattacharya is the perfect guy to head up NIH because he's the guy that was being shit on by people like horrible criminals like Anthony Fauci, that they should be shut down, that they should be silenced. He was the kind of person that was the person being talked about in the Twitter files. Right. That we should black flag this account. We should make sure that this guy's stuff, doesn't get shared, when he was the most reasonable human being when it came with regards to COVID. And now he essentially has Anthony Fauci's old job. And I think that is fucking hilarious.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
I absolutely love the poetic justice there. You have anything to add about Jay? You don't know a lot about Jay, do you? Other than
no, I was reading a little bit about him, and like the studies, like he did extensive studies on different things, like the COVID aspect, the different COVIDs and stuff like that, or not different COVIDs, but like different studies on COVID, and I don't know. Yeah, he seems like just because he's willing to question the narrative, he seems like he might be a decent guy for the job.
Yeah, so he's the kind of guy that understands what science is, because you remember you had all the people, trust the science, which is a fundamentally stupid statement, as we know, if you know what science actually is. It's a fundamentally stupid statement because science is designed to be questioned. That's the whole idea behind science. If we just trusted the science throughout all of human history, we would all still think the world is flat, right? We would think that fucking Albert Einstein is a quack.
That the sun revolved
theory
around
of
the
relativity, or that the sun revolved around the earth. Yeah, that's what we would still think if everybody just thought throughout all of time. Just trust the science. Always trust the science.
No, science is about questioning things.
And Jay Bhattacharya understands that. And he's also a quality medical professional. Easily Trump's best pick so far. Without question. I give Jay Bhattacharya an A+. Huh?
Yes, I don't think so.
You name somebody better? Tulsi Gabbard? She gets about a C+ for me.
Just because of she's kind of war hockey in the Middle East.
She's a little bit too she gets a little bit too wet for Israel.
I know, that sucks. I didn't see that one coming.
Yeah, she's probably in that bedroom just fucking hammering that bean to thoughts of Israel bombing the shit out of Gaza, just hammering the thing. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like Tulsi Gabbard. She's a very attractive woman, and I would like to watch that. But I would feel bad about it at the same time. Like, I don't like that you're hammering your bean to this.
Buyer's remorse.
Yeah, I like Tulsi for the most part, but yeah, she's got some.
Yeah, the Israel thing kind of like it was like, wait, hold on, like you were very, very anti-war. So I don't know.
Yeah, but I don't know. She's anti-war, but she's not. She's an Assad toady, Corey.
All right, Barry Weiss, relax.
No, that's the thing. Like so many of these people, Pete Hegseth's kind of the same way. Is like they get certain aspects of this right, and they get certain aspects of this wrong. And being as a bleeding heart libertarian, it's like, yeah, just war's bad. Like there's just like find every off ramp you can possibly find for war.
War is the culmination of failure of diplomacy, policy, and like just that. And it's like
Trump's about Corey
and all these
people.
I'm glad
you brought that up.
Like all these people, they act like they're so much smarter than us. Like all these intellectuals that are in charge, and it's like war means you failed. Like war means you lost. You weren't. They always ask what you were supposed to do.
So many of them ask that gotcha question of like, well, what was Israel supposed to do? Like, aren't you the war expert? Like, shouldn't you have figured that part out? Like, shouldn't you have told us what Israel was supposed to do?
Yeah, you're the experts. Why are you asking me?
Yeah, you're supposed to be well, what were they supposed to do? The Dennis Prager's of the world. Did Dennis Prager die, by the way? Didn't he have some health issues?
No.
I don't think he died. I'm not rooting for Dennis Prager's death, by the way, just so everybody knows.
Oh, you don't equate him to the CEO of United Health.
No, because he's not screwing people over. He's a conservative intellectual that I have vehement disagreements with on certain things, but I kind of agree with him on others. Hey, listen, I take my policy a la carte. I'm an asshole. What do you want?
That's it pisses people off so bad.
Terrible human being for taking my policy a la carte. But I'm glad you brought up the Trump aspect of this, because Trump threatens BRICS countries, Corey, with 100% tariffs if they try to do away with the American dollar. I'm going to read Donald Trump's truth from November 30th. Trump says, the idea that BRICS countries are trying to move away from the dollar. Well, should I try to read this in Trump's voice? I could try. The idea that BRICS countries are trying to move away from the dollar while we stand by and watch is over. I can't do it. Sorry. I'm just going to read it in a regular person's voice. We require a commitment from these countries that they will neither create a new BRICS currency nor back any other currency to replace the mighty U.S. dollar, or they will face 100% tariffs and should expect to say goodbye to selling into the wonderful U.S. economy. They can go and find another sucker. There is no chance that the BRICS will replace the U.S. dollar in international trade, and any country that tries should wave goodbye to America. What do you think about that, Corey? How do you feel about that truth from the president-elect Donald Trump?
You could just remove all sanctions on other countries that prove that they don't work, where we sanction the US dollar, right? And then create an amendment that like makes the US currency separate from geopolitics or something like that. Or not even an amendment necessarily, but an executive order to reverse, and you would do everything you could possibly with a couple of these examples I just gave to restore faith in the US dollar, because it still is the most stable US, or not US, but the most stable currency to be traded in. And it's a show of good faith that we're not going to fuck with other people's, because BRICS is the response of America literally cutting off Russia with the flip of a switch from the whole Western economy. And you got countries like Brazil, China, India, Saudi Arabia, who also just is loosening ties with our military, which means that our relationship with Saudi Arabia is probably coming to an end. And what are the other ones that were in there? It's Brazil, Russia, India, China, Saudi Arabia.
South Africa is the S.
Oh, the other Saudi. I think Saudi Arabia. No, maybe Saudi Arabia is willing to trade in this, is what they were saying.
Yeah, but that's not part of BRICS.
And so all these countries are like, well, we got a little bit of muscle, and we're not necessarily a part of the West. Let's create a currency let's create a currency that will be easily traded to protect our sovereignty and protect the
not leave you. You mean not leave them tied to what they view as a global tyrant?
Right.
I don't feel that way about the U.S., but you can completely understand what you should be able to completely understand why other countries around the globe would see the United States as the global tyrant. And here's where Donald Trump gets it wrong. And listen, I can already hear Trump supporters. Well, he's not serious. It's just a threat. It's like this the whole take him seriously but not literally thing. Okay, so let's take him seriously but not literally. Either way, this is just a bad move. It's a bad move because here's the thing. It is called by many Trump supporters as, well, tariffs are just a bargaining tool. But here's why this one's dumb. Because they really aren't a bargaining tool in this situation. Because it's a hollow threat. Because if Trump actually...
And not only that, not only is it just a hollow threat, it creates all these countries that are on the fence. It gives them one of two options. Either go all in and hopefully, like you are on the right side of the global transition of the global trade currency, or you stick with America that seems to be, that apparently is making statements like this, has their back against the wall. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But it's also
like that's what it comes across to me as. It's like, this is someone like with their back against the wall. Like, I swear to God, if you take one more step, you're fucked. Or it's everyone going, all right,
but
we're tired of this
Corey,
guy.
that goes back to the whole take him seriously but not literally thing, right? So what they would say is like, well, it's just a hollow threat, right? It's just a bargaining chip. And it's like, it's not, because if Trump actually implemented 100% tariffs against BRICS countries, it would boost inflation to levels we have not seen yet. That's just number one. So that's obviously not going to happen. Or if it does, then Trump is going to be, I mean, he'll still have some defenders, but my God, when steel is literally double the price, people are going to be pissed, right? But the thing is, like, it's also a hollow threat because, like, other countries have economists too.
Right.
And it's like they know what a 100% tariff would actually do, which is, guess who pays for every tariff? I don't know how many times we have to say this on the show. Corey, who pays for tariffs?
The consumer.
You and me. We pay for tariffs, not the countries that they're implemented upon. Because so many of these companies, and I actually have some insight into this because I have a very good friend who has a father who runs a I don't remember exactly what he does, but he runs like a stamping company who makes parts for tools. He makes tools for other people's for die casting. Does a lot of business in China. And he's told me multiple times, like, yeah, we're just going to charge more. Like, we're just going to charge more. We're still going to do business in China. We're still going to do business
more, and then you just blame it on the government. Like
100%. We're just going to charge more.
Everyone else
you pay
in this
tariffs, I
industry
pay
is
tariffs.
going to do the same thing.
So,
because it's a blanket upcharge. Like there's no way of getting around it through innovation, product increases, anything. There's no way around it. You're just making everything cost 100% more across the board. So
we might look back on this
up by 100%.
We might look back on this truth and nothing ever came of it. And I hope that's the case.
That's probably the case. Like, remember, put yourself through the 2016 to 2020. He said outlandish shit like this all the time.
But the thing is, like, dude, you were already elected. Like, why do you need to truth this out? You were already elected. You're already going to be president. I don't know, man. But
he's already setting his groundwork. You know what I mean?
The people that are all for this. Like, this is the problem
Tariffs
I have.
Are always bad.
This is the problem I have with super sycophantic Trump supporters. I don't blame you for voting for Trump. I think I've said that a million times. I can name a million reasons, good reasons why somebody would vote for Trump. If you're just a regular run-of-the-mill Trump supporter who looks at this and goes, yeah, that's not good, but the alternative would be worse. We can be friends. We can absolutely be friends. I'll hang out with you. I'll have a beer with you. I'll pour you a good bourbon. But the people that are just like, everything Trump does is the absolute thing that's going to make this country better, we probably can't be friends because you're
that's
a moron.
So wild because like I get along with those people just as much as I get along with the Trump supporters who think that the ground he walks on is hollow or, you know, like holy. It's hollow ground, you know. It's just nothing can go wrong.
What's the thing is, like, I would meet Trump. I would shake his hand. I would be like, bro, I hope you do a good job. I wouldn't have said that fucking 8 years ago. I wouldn't have said that. But now, yeah, I'd shake his hand. I'd have a drink next to him because, from what I understand, Trump doesn't drink. You know, I'd sit next to him.
No, I never, yeah,
so that's a good time.
Yeah, so I also never got to that point because, like, even throughout the whole like Trump thing, you could even ask Bell. Like, I still have a lot of very avid Trump supporter friends, and I had them all through 2016 to 2020.
But are they reasonable, or is it like everything Trump does is right?
We would get really drunk and have very, very animated, like, emotional arguments about this shit. And then sometimes we would wrestle and sometimes we wouldn't. And then the next day we would
and then you would fuck.
And then the next day we would just be talking like normal. And no, I'm talking like my one buddy, not Brandon, the guy that's in our podcast, but my buddy Brando. Me and him always get drunk and rambunctious, but we always get into like crazy conversations about this shit. Like, I don't shy away from it, and all my friends who are Trump supporters don't shy away from it, and all my friends who are super liberal don't shy away from it. And then we just hash it out after we're all wasted and then laugh about it the next day.
That's good, man, because I have those people in my life that are like, they're still like, I think this is because I hang out with older people, but they're like, we don't talk about politics or religion at this house.
Well, that's the problem, right?
So politics or religion.
Excuse.
That's my whole thing. Like the amount of conversations where I've gotten like I had my last golf outing, right? It was one of those nights the golf was done. We were out sitting by a bonfire. Everybody was fucking hammered. I'm sitting by the bonfire with this guy that I had just met 3 days ago. I didn't know this guy from Adam, right? I knew a little bit about him just based on the weekend. I knew he had a couple kids. You know, I knew he had a wife. I knew he was friends with another buddy of mine. We're sitting around this bonfire, and I don't know how the topic of politics comes up, right? Like you don't always remember how the conversation got started, but it got started. And we're talking.
Your wedding.
Right. Yeah. Right. Right. And sometimes it goes bad. But he's he tells me he's a Trump supporter, and like 8 years ago, I would have been like, "Fuck you, dude! I'm never playing golf with you again." However, not anymore, and because he was just a reasonable guy who didn't know a lot, but he knew that there's something fucked up about the country. Right.
Yeah.
Like he knew something was wrong. And so we got to talking and he goes, man, like and I actually took pride in the fact that he said this to me, because he goes, man, like I'm usually really uncomfortable having these conversations. And I'm like, I'm never uncomfortable having these conversations. And he goes, yeah, dude, you seem pretty comfortable. And he goes, that's kind of made me a little bit more comfortable. And like, so like I had a conversation with this guy. He might never have had this conversation with anybody else on planet Earth. And so like when people talk about like, don't ever talk about religion or politics, this fucking boomer attitude.
Right, because
like,
most
don't
people
ever talk
are reasonable.
Well, and even if they're not, then that's when you can end the conversation. But like letting people know that, because like people always talk about like, well, a discussion about politics is uncomfortable. It's like, well, it's only uncomfortable if you make it uncomfortable. It's only uncomfortable if you get your emotions involved into it. Like, I don't have any issue listening to somebody tell me, if I go like, and I'm asking from a real genuinely curious place. Why did you vote for Kamala Harris? Why did you vote for Donald Trump? Why did you vote for third party? And like, I'm asking the question
because it's investigative, because we just want to talk
right.
Right.
And that's exactly what that's
not to slander them or like bash them.
Right. That's exactly what I was getting at. Like, I'm asking this question because I'm genuinely interested, not because I want to hear your answer and tell you why you're wrong.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And like, that's the conversation we need to have more when it comes to politics and religion. Like, I'm even into it with religion now. I am so much more open now to like the tenets of the Bible than I was 10 years ago. Like, I'm not a Christian. I don't think I'll ever be one.
Yeah. And I
understand, but I understand why people are Christians.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So a person who made me like make a concerted effort against that actually is Bell, and I got to give him credit for it. I don't even know what the fuck he's doing. His camera.
There you go. I'm gonna bring his screen up. It was like, did you jizz on the camera, Bell?
There he is. No, but it was he
had to wipe.
No, it was one of the people who had one of the biggest influences on me trying to like make a concerted effort to be more open-minded was Bell, because we were I forget what it was. We were drunk and bullshitting probably about politics. And I said something about being one of the most open-minded people. And he goes, no, dude, you're not as open-minded as you think.
Nobody is.
And I was like, fuck. Yeah, no, it did. It made some neurons in my brain fire and reconnect, and then like changed my whole trajectory on the idea of like, giving someone the benefit of a doubt, because I want to say 90% of people in this world, even if they get heated with you, they vehemently disagree with how they think the government should work, which shouldn't be an issue in the first place because the government shouldn't fucking exist. But we're just idealists on that. Is like, don't wait. No, I lost my train of thought right there. My wheels got greased up. But
well, it doesn't make them a bad person. Like,
no,
somebody's ignorant.
Just like 90% of the people, that's what I was saying, are just as good intentioned as you are.
They're just wrong. You know what I mean? Like that's what I say to people all the time. It's like I understand your intentions. I understand what you want. I understand, because we have this thing, and we all do this. And libertarians honestly, dude, libertarians are some of the worst when it comes to this, honestly. And people see the world as they want to see it, not as it is. So like, if you want Trump to be a dirty fucking felon who should be in prison, that's the way you're going to see the world. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you want, there to be this unbelievably corrupt, just all encompassing deep state that controls absolutely every aspect of everybody's life, that's the way you're going to see the world. But you might also be a really good dad. You might also be like a dad who comes home to his kids and plays catch with them every week, every like once a week or twice a week, and has conversations with him about like what's going on in school or like what he wants to be when he grows up. You know what I mean? Like just because that person is wrong, you can be wrong and still be a good person.
Yeah.
And that's what I feel like a lot of people miss. Like a lot of the time.
Because that's the thing, right? It's like, oh, they're wrong, but guess what? They had just as much power as you did in trying to tip the needle, or like to kick the fucking rudder of the ship the best they could, just like you did, to change the trajectory of the country. You know what I mean? Like it's like, oh my god, like
they're just
as
racist,
wrong as they were
racist,
and as right as you think you are, your votes canceled each other out.
racist transphobes. That's all they are.
And
dirty racist transphobes.
Trying to shame someone because they don't think the way you are clearly doesn't work.
You want to close out with Hunter Biden's pardon from our great president of the United States? I have to piss so bad.
Hey, Bell, I want you to read that text that you sent the group.
Bring him in. I'm going to go pee.
Which one?
So let the history books reflect. I'll have you read it because it'll be better in your cadence, because it captures like kind of like the whole spirit of like what's going on with this. Do you have it in front of you?
I am getting there.
Okay. Because like I'm not emotionally outraged about this as you would expect, like from someone who would be on the right. Like, I'm not saying I'm on the right, but I'm saying like someone like, oh my god, I can't believe he did this. He's a fucking criminal. Because the people that are saying that for the last 4 years are more interested in Hunter Biden's dick pics and not like the actual idea that the government, through encroachment, expanded its own power in trying to stifle free press.
They always forget that what they're doing, what you're doing to them, they'll do to you.
Exactly. Now,
So, I have it. I will begin. Let the history books reflect. Hold on.
and bring your mic closer too.
Here we go. Imagine being elected as United States Senator in 1972 and one of your first acts being to vote for the creation of the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms. Over 50 years, the ATF has helped prosecute gun crimes against millions of Americans. Same man gives a presidential pardon to his son for gun crimes. Imagine standing on the floor of the United States Senate demanding laws so that Americans caught with a crack rock the size of a quarter can be thrown in prison for 5 years, and making it possible for the U.S. government to lay those people's property through asset forfeiture. But dragging out a possible prosecution for your son that your limitations runs out, that's okay. Millions of dads, moms, brothers, sisters, uncles, aunts, spouses, nephews, nieces, lovers, and children have been strapped with permanent life-altering felonies. A former senator who utilized his position to exemplify his authoritarian beliefs where the government can be weaponized against his citizens, but his own family gets a pass. Your 3 hots and a cot.
Yeah, your family.
67 Corvette.
Yeah, and then like he created all these laws that got his son
Or
caught up,
vastly
in the
helped
store.
create these laws.
Yeah, like pounded his fist and did all that shit since 1972 in Congress. on getting the very laws that his son were ensnared in.
Well, so much of this
then turns
started
around
because
and pardons his son. Where was my mom's pardon when I was 6 years old and I had to go visit her in jail for having a crack
because
rock?
she was an actual addict.
Yeah,
Not
and not
because-
the size of
yeah.
a quarter. It was way less. She could never afford that much crack because she was a crack addict. And here I am, a little boy, going to visit my mom in jail, and yet Hunter Biden gets a pass.
So it sounds like you're mad at Joe and not so much Hunter, right? Am I correct?
No, I'm not really mad at anyone. I'm not mad in the fact that he was pardoned, right? I'm like, because of the
As I
fact,
said, you're mad at Joe. You're not mad at Joe.
Well,
You're not mad at Joe because he pardoned his son. You're mad at Joe for the reasons you should be mad at Joe, which was the fact that these laws were created in a large part because of Joe Biden, in the fact that he had to fucking pardon his son in the first place. Am I close?
yeah, you're pretty close.
Yeah.
Like,
Fuck Joe Biden.
Joe Biden was over there like, I'm not going to get involved. I'm not going to get involved. I'm not going to get involved. Now, if Joe Biden didn't completely fucking bomb that debate to the point where they thought they could string him along for another election and he won again, he wouldn't have pardoned his son.
No, he wouldn't have. He would have waited. He would have waited. He would have waited. And he would have waited.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how much of this is like the fact that, as I said, did I say this last week or the week before when we were talking about the like what would make for an actual successful Trump presidency? I do recall saying that one of the things was that he should pardon Hunter Biden.
Oh, that's the other thing. When he was like in his whole thing of his reasoning why he pardoned his son was saying it was like he essentially called it in so many words a political witch hunt.
Yeah. Okay. It was. No, he's not wrong. That's the thing. Joe Biden's not wrong. It was a political witch hunt.
Right. But it was
a political witch hunt that was a response to another
reaction to a political witch hunt against Trump. Yeah. And it's just a bunch of political witch hunts. And they're not going to stop another Trump presidency. That's for sure.
No. Well, we're going to see what Kash Patel does. But yeah.
That would be a successful. That would be. I would consider that. Like I didn't say it in my initial. What would make a presidential presidency or a presidential term successful under Trump? I should have added stop all the witch hunts.
Yeah.
Just fucking focus on helping the American people. That's what you ran on.
Enough with the grievances.
Enough with this bullshit retribution.
To add to your point, Corey, and to add to the point that Bell made in that text that he sent to us a few days ago or a couple days ago, don't be pissed off at Hunter Biden. Hunter Biden never had a chance. Like if you're upset that Hunter Biden was pardoned, you are focused on the wrong thing.
Yeah,
Hunter
you should
Biden,
be upset that an elitist gets pardoned while millions of blue collar,
right, like
middle class, lower class people get fucked for the same thing he got fucked for, but because his daddy's president, he got away with it.
Yeah, so Hunter Biden,
you can be upset with the nepotism, but you don't get upset with
not even with the nepotism, because Hunter Biden should have been pardoned because the crimes that he allegedly committed. But hold on, he should have been pardoned along with a cornucopia of other people that committed the same crimes that he committed.
What a fucking like just paper error, a form document error. It could be argued.
You're talking about the gun charge? You're talking about the gun charge?
Yeah.
Because that's the other thing too. And we talked about this when Hunter Biden was first charged.
And I'm bringing up the idea that it's basically just like a semantic, like check of a wrong box, clerical error for Biden, giving him that benefit of the doubt. And I say that I'm giving Hunter Biden the benefit of the doubt of it being a clerical error, with him saying that he didn't use drugs when he got the gun, because we gave Trump the same benefit of the doubt of a clerical error with the 34 counts of his felony when it came to the money with the Stormy Daniels thing, because the money wasn't shifted to the right account to pay people in the right tunnel, and it was done through cash out of his campaign budget, and that's what they nailed him on. Allegedly. He got nailed on a clerical error, and Hunter Biden got nailed allegedly on a clerical error as well by the Republicans.
Well, yeah, and not to mention this, not to mention this part, Hunter Biden, if he's not Hunter Biden, never gets charged with that crime. Like, how many people have lied on a gun application form that they don't use drugs when maybe they smoke pot once in a while?
Yeah,
which is federally illegal. So it's like it's the same kind of thing. Like Hunter Biden getting charged, people go, well, he only got off because of who his dad is. It's like, yeah, that's true. He also only got charged because of who his dad is. Let's be honest about this. At the end of the day, Hunter Biden,
but it exposes, that's one thing, right?
Care.
Is like it exposes the hypocrisy of the left again, saying that the right only does this shit, and that they're above it, and they're for the norms, and they're for like the way the justice system works, and they preached all of this shit, and then they turned around and did the same thing that they're claiming that the Republicans are going to do.
Yeah, I always wonder how many people tune into our show, like at the wrong time, and think that we're one thing or the other, and then just click off. You ever wonder that?
All the time.
Oh yeah, because it has to happen. It's not what we are. Do you have anything else to add about Hunter's presidential pardon? Because it was the right thing to do, but for the wrong reasons, I guess is what I would say.
Yeah. No, I think I spoke my piece on that.
So you know what Joe Biden should do right now? Should I have a public service announcement to Joe Biden?
His 40 years of
or if you want to make up for any of it, how about just a mass pardon of everybody that was charged for the same thing your son was charged for? You want to leave a legacy, right? Because every president wants to leave a legacy. And right now, Joe Biden's is not very good. No. Let's be very honest about that. He did one good thing, and it was really messy when he did it, and that was getting out of Afghanistan. If he wants to leave a legacy, like an actual legacy, I want him to spend his last, how many days does he have left in office? It's December 4th. He's got about a month and a couple of weeks. Let's say about 6 weeks.
Yeah, a month and 2 weeks or something. Yeah, 6 weeks.
About 6 weeks. About 6 weeks. I want Joe Biden to spend to do nothing else. His 4 hours a day after he has his nap, and somebody calls him his soft-boiled eggs.
Drug charge. Just pardon them.
I want him to go through and just pardon doesn't even have to pardon everybody with a drug charge, but I want him to pardon every single person with a federal charge that is identical to his son's. Every person. That might be like 14 people. I don't fucking know. But just pardon everybody that has the same charge his son has. And I will say to you, that is a good ending legacy for Joe Biden. That's how I'm going to leave it. Tell the people where they can find us, Corey.
Libservative Podcast is found on all social media and podcast platforms. Our website is libservativeshow.com. We can be found at Libservative on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Instagram and Twitter, LibservativePod. Our TikTok videos can be found at Libservative Podcast, and you can reach out directly at libservativepod@gmail.com. Subscribe today. Do it.
Not
Why
tomorrow. Not tomorrow. And if you liked it, send it to a friend. Word of mouth helps. 100%. Yeah. For Bell the Bodysnatcher on the ones and twos, he, as always, has been Corey Walsh.
And he's Dan Griffin.
It's been Libservative, intellectual idiots fostering political and cultural literacy. And until next time, we are out of here.
Peace.